Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. In this podcast, we like to tackle the CNC industry specifically and really talk a little bit about business in general. Hopefully you'll find some entertainment throughout it and hopefully some education. But the next episode starts right now. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Talking Shop. I am your host, Brandon Bombardo, here with Nick Peters.
Hello, Brandon.
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. As you guys all know, each week we try to keep you guys entertained, and this week we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to change the order. We're going to jump into our favorite, though, current events, of course, and then we'll go into some customer questions and comments right away. And then we got a question for you, the audience. And then we'll get into this week's topic. Kind of excited about this week's topic. We're going to talk a little bit about being afraid to make money. That's this week's episode. And then we're going to go through The Internet is Broken, and then Motivational Quote of the Week, and then we'll finish it up with our final thoughts. How's that sound this week?
Sounds amazing.
It's a different order. Hopefully I don't mess it up.
Episode 150.
159. 159. We're on camera today. We got the cameras in here, so say hi to the people. Hi.
Everybody can see your sunburn.
They can see my burnt face.
How's it feel wearing those headphones?
It doesn't hurt at all.
Oh, that's good.
Don't even feel it.
Good.
My ears aren't as burnt as my top of my head. So.
Well, the headphones go over the top of your head. That's why I asked.
Yeah, but it's not barely touching.
That's good.
See?
Oh, you got
Some
a little
clearance
bit
there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Nope, I definitely burnt the crap out of my head this weekend.
I know how that goes.
Took the kids tubing.
Looked like fun.
You know, it's funny. We got off the lake. I didn't think I was that bad. Then that night, I realized how burnt I was. And the first thing that came to my thought was, well, they're going to paint my face red in this podcast this week.
It'd be even funnier if they did just the top of your head.
I mean, basically, that's all.
From
it
like
is,
your eyebrows.
My eyebrows up.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's basically how it feels at this point. Yeah, took the kids tubing, though. We were playing on the lake on Sunday.
Weather was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice day.
Like a perfect weekend.
We had to get out there and enjoy it because we haven't had any of those this year.
No, it rains every day.
Every day. It's raining again today.
It is. It's going to be nice tomorrow.
Tomorrow's nice?
Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Well,
Yeah.
they're going to be listening to this on Wednesday, so today, if you're listening,
It'll be a
tomorrow
nice day.
for us.
And then 4th of July is supposed to be raining again.
All the way through Sunday.
Is it really all the way through Sunday now?
Pretty much. Chance of rain every day. Yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be great.
bummer.
Yep.
It's a real bummer.
Nice weather for a long weekend.
Yeah, right. It's my favorite holiday, though. One of my favorite holidays.
4th of July?
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
America.
America.
That's why.
Yep.
I don't know. Being an American-made company and growing up in that, you know, I just love this holiday. It's like my favorite holiday.
What's not to love about it? I mean,
Celebrate being an American.
right? Try to keep all your fingers for the weekend.
Right.
Don't blow any off with fireworks.
Right. My goal always every year is to just not lose my hand.
Right.
Yeah, like that's a solid goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Be tough to do a lot of things related to this job without all your fingers, wouldn't it?
What
One-handed typing.
it'd be difficult. What's your plans for the 4th of July? Do anything fun?
Well, we did make the trip to Wisconsin to get some more fireworks.
I saw
weekend.
that.
We went twice now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we shot a bunch last weekend. Like, we need some more. We don't want to run out.
You going back tonight to go get more?
No, I think we're good now.
Okay.
Probably do some of that tomorrow night.
Cool.
Maybe go to New Prague and watch the fireworks. And it's going to be the only nice night to watch them.
That's tomorrow night, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think what we're going to be doing is going to watch fireworks tomorrow night there.
Yeah, and then probably just hang out at home and cook a bunch of meat Thursday.
Yeah.
We're going to the Twins game Friday night. So
Are you going?
Yeah. We're
That'd be
gonna
fun.
go downtown during the day and find some stuff to do and then go to the game.
That sounds like a blast.
Hopefully it's somewhat decent out. And then Saturday and Sunday, nothing. Golfing on Sunday with Chad, the face of ShopSabre.
Oh, you're going with the old Chad Wilson.
Chad
The
Wilson.
Chadillac.
Chad at ShopSabre.com.
Chad at ShopSabre.com.
Haven't heard that in a few weeks.
I know. We figured we'll throw it out there for you.
So yeah, what do you got going on?
No, that's cool. We're going to some friend's house tomorrow night that live by the New Prague fireworks area. So we're gonna go to their house and barbecue, and then
Wings?
we'll watch. We were doing wings, but I'm all winged out after their night. So now we're doing dogs and hamburgers, and then we're gonna watch the fireworks as well because of the weather, of course. And then so let's go to my dad's on the old JB, going to his house on 4th of July. Let all the grandkids are gonna play together. So
It's always fun.
yeah, they look forward to that. And then my buddy's grandfather's memorial race is on Friday, but it's not looking very promising for us being able to get that thing in. And then supposed to race on Saturday, but again, not looking very favorable in the moment.
Put the rain tires on?
I'm going to put the windshield wipers on. Maybe they'll let me race that way.
It's probably illegal somehow.
It's somehow illegal.
Right.
We'll figure that out. But yeah, I'm pretty excited though. And then obviously we've been working a lot here on some of the growth initiatives and the improvement stuff. We actually are excited. You guys will be the first to hear it right now, but we have a demo day coming up.
Yeah.
July 26th. It'll be the first one ever featuring the TC series. So it is a demo day exclusively on the TC series. We're going to show off the tube cutter. It's about a 4-hour event. Friday, July 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Make sure you get signed up if you're interested in the TC series and want to learn more about it and check it out. You can email sales@shopsabre.com or chat@shopsabre.com, as he would say. And you just tell them you want to come, and they'll get you signed up.
It's going to be awesome.
Dude, I'm excited
That new
about
machine
it.
is sweet.
Yeah, I'm excited about that event. It's going to be fun.
And obviously, seeing everything in person is way better than just watching videos and
Right.
seeing pictures, right?
Right, absolutely. It's like seeing us in person right now is worse, so it's like the opposite.
It is true.
We got a lot of faces for radio.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It happens.
People, they've already turned us off. They saw the video and they're, no,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
not watching
it's
these two
over.
ugly dudes talk the whole time. But yeah, we're going to change it up. We're going to jump right into customer questions first this time. And honestly, we're just doing it because we're trying to, get you guys some more engaging content right away. Not bore you to death. But yeah, let's just jump into it, right?
Yeah.
Customer questions and comments. So question number 1 was, doesn't all hypertherms have hole quality or quality holes nowadays, or is it just machine specific? Yes. Hypertherm technology has come a long way. So I think it's safe to say that yes, all of the hypertherm technology has improved. And yes, you're going to get better cut quality today with cutters than you would get 10 years ago. Jeez. It feels like 100 years
100
ago.
years ago.
No, 10 years ago, you'll get better cut quality because the technology is advanced. But there is still a limitation to technology, right? The machine itself still controls the motion.
Correct.
And so the cutter quality, yeah, is cutter quality. And regardless of what machine you buy, you're going to get the same cutter quality. But if the machine is limiting your capabilities and accuracy and performance, then you won't see that maximum performance of the cutter. And there are a lot of machines out there that do limit the cutter's capabilities because of their acceleration, deceleration, their machine rigidity, things like that. Because like anything, if the machine is wiggling all over the place, right, it's probably not going to be as accurate.
Not even close.
So it's something to think about that machine quality absolutely makes a difference. It actually makes a big difference because having a higher grade controller and motion control and, the machine being able to accelerate and decelerate and do everything in and out of the corners will make a difference. And I always refer to this as, looking at cutting thicker materials is what you see a lot of people showing off. And what you don't realize is they're not showing off their machine and doing the thick materials. Thick material is showing off the cutter.
Yep.
Because the cutter's quality is shown in the thicker materials because it can show you how thick it can go and you're not moving very fast. Therefore, there's not a lot of inertia. The machine isn't having to show its quality. When you start doing cutting with a quicker speed, some of the thinner gauge material, right? We have 26 gauge we show off in a video. A lot of machines can't even cut that. They're not fast enough accelerating to keep the heat away from the material so it doesn't blow the material out. So the thinner stuff is actually where you start to see machine quality because you have to move at a higher rate of speed, and therefore you have to accelerate in and out of corners, decelerate in and out of corners, and all of that will make a big difference when you're showing cut quality.
Makes sense to me.
So there it is. That's the answer to that question. The next question, I'm going to jump over it, actually. I'm going to come back to that one.
Okay.
We're going to go to question 3 first.
I feel like this one's gonna be my favorite one. The one you're skipping and come back to.
Yeah, I'm going to come back
It's
to
gonna
that
be a
one. That's why I said it's a bigger one. I'm going to
Yep.
come back to it. Isn't the vacuum just pulling the warped board down? They're referring to a video we recently released showing off Sean planing off a piece of walnut.
Yep.
And he just simply asked, isn't the vacuum pulling the warp out of the board? Yes and no. Vacuum can pull warp out of a board. We see that a lot with nested manufacturing, like cutting plywoods and cutting MDFs and things like that, where you put the material on there and it pulls it flat so you can nest out your pieces and cut them out.
Yep.
But it doesn't necessarily, affect the product necessarily because, again, the product remains warped, right? What we're talking about is like in this type of material is actually removing that bow from the material. And So what we're showing is that, yeah, you put it down there and the vacuum gets a hold of it, but it can't get as strong of a suction. And so the reason for that video was to showcase, we have another video coming out that we're going to show off a project, but it's like the live edge, the slab that we did on that table. Mm-hmm. We take the live edge and you put it up on the table and you plane it so that the vacuum can get a hold of it.
Right, when you flip it over, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it will never get a hold of it. The air is going to leak out.
Right.
So you plane it to remove the high spots. So you're taking the material down in thickness, but you're also making it flat.
Yep.
And then you flip it and you do the same thing on the opposite side.
And then you have a consistent thickness through the whole thing.
Correct. Then the consistency...
Because it's still cutting at the same height,
Right.
obviously, right? So it's going to cut off more in certain spots, less
Correct.
in certain spots.
And that's why you have to do it a couple times sometimes to find the low spots, right?
Yep.
Because eventually what you want to do is plane it off to the lowest spot. So that way everything's flat.
Correct.
And so, yeah, technically does the material still have some warpage in it? Likely. I mean, they're, obviously, but the surfaces are flat. And therefore now you're working with a constant 0. And so at that point, that allows you to have a more precise cutting tolerance. And so that's what we're looking to do here. And so, like in this case, we were creating that walnut board. What it was is we planed the walnut down so we could use the vacuum. And then the next part of that project, which is not shown on video, is we created one of those like change phone business card holder things that you see on the desks.
Yep.
So they're made out of wood, and there's a spot for your cell phone to sit, there's a spot for your business cards to sit, and then like a change area. And we just created something fun for like the desk drawer. And it was just something that we were like, you know what? A lot of people probably don't realize you can use vacuum to plane out the material before you start rather than having to run to a planer and do it.
Yep.
So it just allowed us to use the tool we had to do everything. So that's really what that was about.
And there's obviously certain materials that you're never going to pull the warp out of, right?
Right.
Like you get a solid piece of wood, you're not really going to be able to bend it to get it flat, right? So that's why you have to plane it down? I assume that's what you were going
Yeah,
for?
I mean, it just, most people aren't going to spend the time to figure out how to do that, right? I mean, it's just easier to plane it down.
Yeah.
And so, no, the vacuum's not pulling it flat in that scenario, right? It's not strong enough necessarily because the air is leaking out.
It's holding it in place.
Correct.
Really.
It's holding it in place so you can plane it off so then it can start to pull the material down. Right. So there's really two ways to answer that question, but so the answer is yes and no. Yes, vacuum can pull a warp out of some material, but on significant warpage, like the vacuum just simply can't get a hold of it.
Well, maybe this is a different topic, but if the vacuum pulls a piece down to take the warp out of it, when you release it, isn't it going to warp back up and screw up the cut you made anyways?
Not necessarily, no.
It'll still stay flat.
Yeah, because you're planing it, you're introducing moisture to it through the vacuum.
What if you don't plane it though? Is what I guess is what I was getting at.
Well, then
like if you just have a piece of like MDF that's got a twist to it and you pull it down, and then you cut something out of it and let it go, isn't it just going to?
Well, a lot of times when you cut something out of it, you're releasing the stress.
So it'll flatten itself.
So the stress kind of naturally flattens itself out a little bit. Plus, you're introducing humidity into the material as you're cutting channels and stuff into it, and that's actually a good point. So like on MDF doors, you plane off the surface on both sides before you make the MDF door, so that way you don't have that issue.
Makes sense.
So, and of course, if you just let it sit in humidity and don't finish it, it's going to warp again, and then all your work is for nothing.
Right.
So yes, you have to, after you plane it and do all that, like you have to take care of the material. So seal it. Make it so it can't swell again.
Correct.
So that's why with MDF doors, the finish is super important. All right. Question 3. The drill block does not reach a full sheet on a ShopSabre. Incorrect. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on where this came from. But honestly, this is just simply people who don't actually know as much as they think they do. ShopSabre's machines have come a long way, right? Let's start there. I think if we just simply go off of on a machine 10 years ago or a machine 5 years ago or whatever, how many years ago we're talking, it didn't reach. If we just literally lived our life off of the past and didn't actually investigate what's truth to today.
Right.
My thing is if somebody asks you on a machine 5 years ago, answer the question. But when somebody's talking about a boring head in today's world and they're posting today, asking about it, putting false information out there is just useless. But our older machines also, let's remember, they were a lot lighter. They were less industrial. They were slower. They had a bolt together frame, right? That all existed back 20 years ago.
Right. But obviously things have changed. Things have improved.
So that'd be like somebody today saying ShopSabre machines have a bolt together frame.
Right.
No. It's a welded one-piece structural steel that we aerospace mill. We can prove that. The same thing that we can do with a boring head. And so I sit here and show you said drawing of a machine with boring head, and it can reach the full distance. The only exception to this entire situation, okay, is on an IS 612. So just for the record, IS, ISM, and ISA all have boring head optional available for it. Depending on your needs, boring heads are not for everybody. We can get into that. That can be another topic for another day. But on an IS 612, the boring head can cut edge to edge. It can cut on any sheet, designed for that machine. So example, 4x8, 5x10, 6x12, right? So a 612 cuts 6x12 sheet. If you put a 6x12 sheet of material up there, it can line bore edge to edge on that sheet. However, the line bore makes an L, okay? So as it makes an L, it's an upside down L essentially. Yep. The farthest right positions cannot reach on an IS 612 only, the left side of the sheet. But all of the line bores on the left side can. So you can line bore all the way down the left side. And the only reason the far right can't is simply because of legal road width. I cannot ship a machine fully assembled and be legal to the roads of the United States without making my gantry wider. So if I make the gantry wider, I go over 102 inches of width, and therefore you need permits to deliver your machine.
Right.
Now, for the 1% of people out there that's going to affect, I'm not going to change it for the other 99%. It will cost the other 99% who it doesn't affect their daily production at all thousands of dollars in shipping costs because they have to get permits to get their machine versus me being able to build it in a way that A, they don't have to assemble the machine, and B, they don't have to pay oversized load permits.
Which is way more productive and makes more sense to do it that way.
To me, that probably makes the most sense. On all of our machines, we try to design these machines for further upgrades. We're not perfect. We've done things in the past that we don't do on our current machines, right? We've learned from, hey, you know what, that didn't work great as the industry's evolved. But remember, when we started building CNC machines were a $250,000 investment. We were bringing CNC technology to the fingertips of people who otherwise couldn't afford it.
Right.
So to judge us on the way things used to be today seems kind of silly. Like we did a lot to try to bring this industry to where it is today.
That's what you get on the internet, though.
Yeah, that's the internet for you. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So anyways, it's just one of those things where I wanted to talk about that there was a comment made about how the drill block does not reach on a ShopSabre, and that is incorrect. Anything that related to that in today's world is not true. Our current models, they all reach. So there you have it. The audience question of the week. I want to ask you, the audience, a simple question. What motivates you to succeed? What is it that motivates you and drives you for success? I want you to answer that. Answer that in the comments. Send us an email. You can send it to marketing@ShopSabre and answer the podcast question. But you can post the response right on our Facebook page. You can do it on our Instagram. You can do it on YouTube, TikTok, any one of them. So MySpace, my personal favorite. You should leave it there on MySpace. But I do want to know what motivates or pushes you to succeed. Nick, take it away. What motivates you?
I think just when it comes work related, I guess, satisfaction of the customers and making sure that they obviously are satisfied with our service that we give them and are prepared as best they can to use their new machine when they get it. Mm-hmm. And just to hear the replies to the emails or phone calls we get with the appreciation for all the hard work we put in to get them the machine and how much we've helped them succeed in their business, really.
So the appreciation is a big part of it for you.
For sure.
Excuse me. So appreciation drives you. Obviously, that's why you keep doing it. You love helping the customer.
Yep.
What about in your personal life? What motivates you? What pushes you to succeed?
That's a good question. I wasn't prepared for this one today.
Yeah. You want some time to think about it?
Yeah, why don't you answer this one too?
Yeah, I'll jump in my answer. I don't want to put you on the spot, but what motivates me, I have two answers here, okay? Personal life, it's my family. I'm gonna be honest. I do everything for my family. It's cliche. It's the answer everybody expects to hear, but it's the truth. Yep. The one thing that drives me is my kids. I will do anything I can to teach them the world. And my thing is, it's not always teaching them how good the world is. Mine is the motivation is to teach them how bad the world can be.
Sure.
So you have to work for everything you're going to do, and people aren't nice all the time. And teaching them that, be prepared for the future, right? It goes back to why my kid's a goalie. I push him for success. You know, I want him to be a goalie because I want him to realize the world is harsh sometimes.
Sure.
And you're going to get lit up 9-0, and you're going to lose, and the team's going to have their, you know, heads hung, and you're going to feel terrible because you put up 9 goals in the back of the net. But you know what? There's going to be a day in your life that it happens too, and you need to be able to pick your head up and move forward.
Absolutely.
So that's what motivates me there. What motivates me the most in like my career, in racing, in, you know, things personally, okay? I consider that my family, like motivation. But what motivates me personally for success is to make sure other people don't get the satisfaction that I didn't succeed. My motivation is proving other people wrong.
For sure.
I love when somebody doubts me, challenges me, believes that I can't do something. To me, it's just further motivation that I'm not going to give you the satisfaction that you won. I might get knocked down. I might not be successful in everything I do, but I will never give up. I'll find a way to make everything a success in some way. It's going to teach me a lesson that I'm going to use later in life. I might lose the battle, but I will not lose the war.
For sure.
Right? I might lose in something today, but in 10 years, I'll be able to look back and say, you know what? Because of that, I won. So that's what motivates me. That's what my driving force is. And it's probably a little bit of like the competitive nature in me is like, you can knock me down, but I'm not going to stay down.
Sure.
I will get back up.
So yeah, I mean, going back to me, I guess. I mean, obviously, family, like you said, is the number one goal for everybody, right? But I think it's only recently that has changed to family for me. Like not recently in like the last week, but like in the last few years.
In the last 3 days, I've decided it's my family.
When I was younger and up until just a few years ago, I thought everything was based on like career success and like all that mattered was being as good as you could at work and always spending time at work and always doing those things. You know, previous job, I worked sun up till sundown, never saw my family and things like that. And once you realize the things you're missing out on and the things that you really want to be there for, you kind of change your motivation into being like, yeah, I can still work a lot and I can still work hard and be successful in work while still being there with my family and doing, you know, things with them all the time as well. So
that's awesome.
I know it's kind of a twofold answer, but at the same time, it's one of those things where like you go through life and you realize what's actually important.
Correct.
Like, yeah, you can make millions of dollars, fine, but what good does that do if you're not happy with life, right? Or not like happy with what's going on? Like,
my thing about that is kind of piggybacking off what you're saying is I think that comes from age, because when you're younger, it's all possessional life.
For sure.
How many possessions can you own? The cars, the fancy house, the this, the that, the that. And as you get older, you realize time. Time is the most valuable thing I own.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how much of it I own. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that's the thing about life that people don't realize is you have a very defined number in your bank account that you can look at. And that number is something you can track. You don't have a number of time, and you can't track that.
Correct.
So that segues me right into the next thing. So for everybody listening right now and watching, what motivates you or pushes you? I want to hear your response to that question. But this brings me into this week's episode, because afraid to make money is this week's episode. And it's related to what we're talking about here, is because a lot of people don't realize that there's a way for them. Did you just get a paper cut?
No, there's a staple. The staple was sticking out of the back of the paper, and I squeezed it together and stuck right.
I saw it. I saw the look on your face. I thought you were going down.
No.
Nick is currently in the ER. He's on
work. I better stay home. I better stay home. I'm going to be in the hospital.
He's going to have to go home now.
See you Monday.
He has to take a long weekend. Why are you leaving? No, it's but afraid to make money is something I want to talk about, because I was talking actually to a gentleman that I know. Troy is his name. He's very, very knowledgeable in the financing world and the banking world. And honestly, well respected. I respect him very much. I've had the joy of getting to know him over the years. And I can say that the statement afraid to make money, it resonated, because we were talking about how customers and some people are just afraid to make money. And, you know, when we're talking about it, we're talking about the roadblocks that people put in front of themselves that ultimately handicap their businesses and their growth. And it's related to what you're talking about. You thought like spending all the hours you can in your business, you know, so you make money and this, that, like that's what you looked at it as.
Yep.
Like, but when you look at it from a business standpoint, like there's things that business owners don't invest in and don't do because they're almost afraid of the success.
Yeah.
Like they feel like they have to be involved in everything, and they're so afraid to let go of something that they don't make money.
Well, and it's a little bit kind of down a different path, but I feel like once you make the realization that it's not all about just dedicating everything to your job in your life.
Right.
You can be more successful if you like have that freedom. Like you have time away and let yourself acknowledge the fact that you don't have to be at work or at your business day in like all day long, all night long. You can have some time away from it and still be successful.
I just simply point out the fact that success comes from having more people being able to do the job.
For sure.
Right? It's not a lot. You don't meet a lot of billionaire businesses that are one-man ownership or one employee,
right?
Run.
Hundreds.
That's my point.
Thousands,
like the bigger the company gets is when it grows.
Yep.
And people are afraid of that because honestly, everybody thinks business is all glorious until it begins.
Yeah.
Until they begin. And then it scares the hell out of them. Mm-hmm. Like business scares the hell out of people because they find ways to just get by then, right? And they stop growing because they get comfortable in this works. I'm comfortable here. They're afraid to get bigger. And some of that is they're afraid to let go. They need to be able to step back and let an employee do something that they otherwise always controlled. Mm-hmm. And, as an example, social media, right? Marketing. Being able to let somebody else jump in there and help out. They have knowledge that maybe you're missing, right?
Yep.
And some people, you got to talk about those who, spend money on themselves, right? Instead of investing in themselves. And what I mean by that is it's the buying a brand new fancy truck. How many business owners do you know, or people do you know, Nick, that own landscape companies or lawn care companies or painting companies or whatever, right? They drive the fancy brand new truck all the time.
Not necessarily people that I know, but you see them on the road all the time.
Okay.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like you see it everywhere, right?
Like I have a few friends. That's why I bring it up. Is I have a few friends of mine that I know, and I make fun of them all the time for it because they go out and buy the brand new fanciest truck every year. Well, I'm going to buy this truck, but their business hasn't grown, and then I hear them complaining about how they have too much work, they can't keep up, or they all of these other things, but they buy a brand new truck every year.
Right.
So why don't you go buy more equipment and hire more people?
I mean,
hire another crew.
Do the math, right? If you're making it, let's go back to use cabinetry for an example.
Yeah.
If you're putting out 2 cabinetry kitchens a week, why? And you have the work to do 4 a week. Hire the people in the machine to make 4 a week, right? And make 4 times the amount of money.
Well, I think people become a slave in their business.
Sure.
Right? You're not working on the business. You're working for the business.
Right.
You need to work on the business. You need to get back to what, when people start in business, like I said, it's all glorious. Oh man, I'm going to make millions of dollars. It's going to be great. I don't have to work for the man anymore. That's my favorite. I don't got to work for the man anymore. And then you realize you're the man and you end up having to work for yourself. And then you end up working harder than you worked for the man.
Because there's 5 million things that the man had other people to do.
Correct.
That ran the business, and now you're trying to do it all.
Yeah. And the thing is everybody's like the greatest boss in the world when they aren't the boss.
Right.
I'm going to be the best boss in the world. Everybody can go home when they want. We're going to live the life. Where are you going? I need you to do your job.
And then people only work 20 hours a week and nothing's getting done.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like my point is that you have to learn to be comfortable doing the uncomfortable things. And that means letting go of things that somebody else can do. Hire a CPA. You know how many people I know that try to do their own taxes in their business and then they just sit there and get stressed out?
Yeah. Let somebody do it that knows what they're doing.
Hire somebody.
Yep.
And guess what? Yeah, it costs you a little money, but you will make more money by not having to stress out on stuff that doesn't make you money.
Absolutely.
Okay, you've just freed up 20 hours a month from having to deal with your books and your finances. Or some people I know who put it off for 3/4 of the year, and then they sit down and panic at the end of the year. Yep. I got to get my receipts and my books, and oh my God, Brandon, we can't hang out for the next 2 weeks because we got to get ready for tax season.
And then somebody's doing it that knows what they're doing and is going to do it right for you, and things are going to be taken care of.
That's my thing. I want to know I have record of everything, and I'm okay. But my point is, have somebody do it professionally, so then guess what? You can do what you're good at. You are good at sales, right? You are good at building this cabinet. You're good at running the lawn crew. Whatever you do, your construction company.
Like you said,
you're not a CPA.
It all goes back to focusing your energy on the proper things, right?
Right.
And doing what's going to make you successful.
Yeah, and I've seen people that have developed lifestyle businesses over the years. Do you know what a lifestyle business is, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, you just decide how much money you want to make,
right.
And when you get to that point, you're done.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you build a lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Like the business becomes your personal ATM.
Yep.
Right? I make so much money, and as long as it keeps generating that money, I'll just live this life and I'll be happy. That's fine.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that live that way, and that's great. I have zero, good for you. Good for you. But you start to wonder, why not build a bigger business then? Build a bigger lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
instead of buying that brand new truck every year, maybe you buy a truck every other year. And then the year in between, you buy equipment.
Right.
Or every 3 years you buy a truck. Like me, I just drive a truck till it dies. But I used to buy a truck every year.
Right.
And I realized that like I'm throwing money away that I can invest in other stuff.
Like hockey equipment.
Like hockey equipment. It's terrible. It's not investing. That's terrible. It's just a money pit. Just started on fire.
And then your kids all grow and you throw it on Facebook trying to sell it.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I'm selling goalie pads. Anybody wants a pair of goalie pads? Yeah,
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Just kind of threw that out there.
Yeah, right. It's all over every Lonsdale happening sale.
You're making money on it though, right? I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Just making money hand over fist.
Great investment.
Yeah, great investment. People really love sweaty used hockey goalie gear. There's a lot of markup in that. I was really tossed up. Do I come to work today or do I go into the business of selling sweaty goalie gear? That's where I was. But, my point being is that, like, your lifestyle business can still be a lifestyle business that you grow.
Right.
And I mean, like, let's get back to what we were talking about. How many hours you put into your previous job? Mm-hmm. Would you say you put in more or less hours now than you did in your past career?
Way less now.
Okay. Do you feel that you are as successful as you were in your past career?
Way more successful.
So you feel more successful and you put less hours in?
For sure.
And that's something that I think a lot of people need to hear, because by buying a piece of equipment, you have the opportunity to do that.
Yep.
You have the opportunity to free up labor time in your business where now you're not working 80-hour work weeks. Instead, you're working 40 or 60-hour work weeks, and yet you're making more money.
Correct.
You're being more successful because you're now able to focus your time and attention on the things that you can't buy a piece of equipment to do.
Right.
I'm sorry, but you're not going to get me, Brandon, here to go buy a set of cabinets for my house without you coming out and explaining to me why your cabinets are so great.
Absolutely.
To me, your time is more valuable being in my house telling me why I need to buy your cabinets than to be in the shop cutting all day long every day.
Right. I mean, you got to go out and do that to get those sales, right?
Right.
If you don't go do that, you're not going to have anything to build.
And, the thing is I've seen so many I have friends of mine who they've handcuffed their business over the years because they're afraid to hire a sales guy. Like, we have so much room for growth, they say. You're right? Oh, I can do so much more if I could just get more sales. I'll hire a sales guy.
Why are they afraid to do that, though? Just because they don't want somebody else out
salary.
selling their product?
The salary.
Yeah, but you're going to pay for that.
That's what they're afraid of. I have to spend money on it.
But you always have to spend money to make money.
That's the phrase, right? Everybody hears the phrase, but nobody understands the phrase. Yes, you have to spend money to get bigger. You have to make a decision now. You are either comfortable with where you are or you're going to invest in your future.
And if you're successful, there's not going to be many times that you invest in a new employee or a new piece of equipment or whatever it is that it doesn't pay for itself and make you money as long as you're doing things right.
Well, my thing is you can't be afraid to make money and then complain that it's holding you back.
Right. It's
like,
kind of
you have to invest in yourself. And that means sometimes you're going to take risk. I mean, remember when you quit your job and you started your company? That was a risk. You took that risk. Why wouldn't you take the next risk, which is I'm going to gamble on myself. I know I have the work.
Yep.
I'm already doing the work. I'm going to buy the piece of equipment, the software. I'm going to hire the person. I'm going to do something to help us take that next step.
It almost seems like people trust themselves to do it and aren't afraid to jump off that cliff themselves and jump into a business. But then when hire the right person that you can trust to do the job properly and have the faith in them, they're going to do a great job for you.
Yep.
I mean, somebody might not be maybe on the outside the best candidate to do it, but if you teach them properly and give them the tools and the skills to do it, most likely they're going to be successful. You
know why people are afraid or aren't afraid to jump in it themselves?
Because they know they can control it.
They undervalue themselves is why.
That's also true.
They think mentally, I can work for free. I can work night. I don't have to take a paycheck. They undervalue themselves. And therefore, they're like, oh, yeah, I'll take a risk on myself, but I won't hire somebody.
Right.
You are undervaluing yourself. So you're saying, like, you'll work for free, but that person won't.
But you definitely shouldn't put that value on yourself. You're worth more than that.
You're worth more than that. Exactly. Your time is worth it.
We've talked about that before.
You're spending more money than you realize because it's just not a currency.
Right.
It's your time. As we talked about earlier, time is unmeasurable.
Yep.
So therefore, all the time you're spending and all the energy you're putting into it, like, yeah, there's a point in your business. Every business has to start with that, okay? I'm not saying you magically, I'm going to start a business tomorrow and I'm going to hire 5 people. Like, don't do that. That's dumb, right? You got to be smart on how you get started and you got to baby step into it. But and we're talking about somebody who has an established business or they're looking for growth. The next step is potentially buying that piece of equipment. Or for the guy who is starting a cabinet shop, let's say, right? You're going to have to buy something. You're either buying saws or you're buying a machine. Buy the piece of equipment that's going to allow you to grow.
Yep.
Jump into it, right? There's things that you can do there. And again, it goes back to, especially when you start looking at like Section 179, the tax incentives, and you're going to utilize that in your business. Why not use it on something that makes you money versus something that depreciates?
Like buying a new truck.
Like buying a truck.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that. I know next week we actually have a guest on our show, Connor. He's going to be on our show next week from Geneva Capital, and he's going to talk a little bit about case-by-case studies on this that they have, and it's pretty entertaining to hear like some of the stories on that. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I got on that. Like, I just think that there's so many people that handicap their futures because of the fact that they're just afraid to jump into that. So, that's this week's episode on afraid to make money. You know, I want to jump into something a little bit more lighthearted, more fun. One of my favorites, the internet being broken. Let's jump into it. The internet is broken. So I talked a little bit earlier about the drill head situation, you know, and I want to start off by saying to all of you people who are listening out there, anybody who's listening to this that has a business and you get shitty comments on the internet, okay? It happens. Once in a while, you're going to get a comment from somebody who doesn't value you, okay? Doesn't appreciate you. Brush it off is the first thing I say. Water on a duck's back. Brush it off, right? Yep. People know the price of everything, but value nothing today. I want you to remember that because it goes back to what we just said. They know the price to hire somebody, but they don't understand the value to hire somebody, right?
Correct, yep.
The same can be said in your business. You know, I hear and read, you know, comments on the internet all the time. Honestly, I read comments all the time. And the vast majority of the comments I read on the internet are people just trolling people.
Yep.
Like, I'm not talking about ShopSabre comments. I'm talking about just comments, right?
In general, yep.
Like, that's where I go on everything. Any post, I go to the comments because I always know there's going to be something. So, like, I just want to remind you that, like, there's a lot of people that literally find enjoyment in trolling companies and in trolling people and trying to get a reaction out of you.
Yep.
Don't give them the reaction. The only reason they get the reaction is because as a society, we enable it. And I'm the guy that, as uncomfortable as it might be, will always challenge that. Like, I'll jump in. I'll always challenge it because, like, the world needs less acceptance of that shitty behavior.
Absolutely.
Like, yes. That's how I look
100%.
at it. And so an example of what I'm talking about is there was a comment about my sales team, and I'm going to defend them right now. There was a comment on the internet, and this is why I say the internet is broken, because the person who made the comment probably doesn't even know my sales guys. He's probably never spoken to one of my sales guys, and if he has, he probably doesn't know him on a personal level or would care to get to know him. And they wrote, you know, that our salespeople won't mention a lot of things. And I'm just going to straight up say that's a lie. Like, my sales guys will tell you anything you want to know. In fact, my sales guys work nights, weekends. They don't make commission. My sales guys are not commission paid. They don't get a fat commission check at the end of the week because they sold a bunch of options. They have nothing in it to not tell you the truth, right? They don't make more money by not telling you the truth. So there's nothing in it for them to do that. So specifically, they were referring to the drill block, again, going back to somebody talking about the drill block not reaching this full sheet and then saying the sales guy won't tell you all this stuff. It's a vindictive comment. I'm going to be honest. Very vindictive. There's no reason for it. Call us if you got an issue with it. We'll talk to you. My phone has never had a message on it that I would just deleted and ignored. Okay. I've always called every person back, even if it's uncomfortable. But I bring this up only because it's easy to forget the little things that so many companies do out there. And the reality is like, just like CNC technology, like what we do, people forget about like all the things we do that other people just don't do.
Right.
You know, the free support training, the, you know, Sabre Nation University, all of the stuff that exists that we take the time, you know, I always remind people, and I'm going to put this out there, not to, you know, stroke my own ego here or anything like that. But really what this is about is saying, I want you to think about like how many companies that you've bought product from where the founding family responds to questions online.
I can't think of one. I mean, that's just being honest. Like, yeah. I can't think of one.
I just asked the question because it's super easy to compare our product to other companies and other products. But I always go back to how many of those companies actually care who you are. Like, yeah, they might sell a $150,000 machine, $140,000, but I'm going to bet you that most of their presidents, CEOs, whatnot, aren't as actively involved in the user level as we are here.
Right.
I'm going to bet you that there's very few companies on a product level worldwide that when you get to the director levels and above, truly care about the customer on a level where they're going to reach out and try to take care of somebody and make sure that they are always there to listen if something's going on and try to be as reasonable as possible. I think most of them don't even take a phone call. I'm going to be honest.
No.
They're going to pass it on to their managers and let their managers deal with it.
Yep.
I feel like that's where most things, and you can escalate it as much as you want, and you might get a generic email response, but I'm going to bet you not a lot of them are willing to put their face out on the internet and actually talk to concerns or on a podcast like this and just call it out what it is.
Yep.
Right?
It doesn't happen.
So I'm going to say it's never been easier than now to sit on the internet and troll people. It's never been easier than now to go out there and put things out there that aren't truthful, right? People do it. They say things to skew people's opinions. It's always going to exist. But the thing that I will always put out there is ShopSabre will always be here to answer your questions. If you question anything about our product, about our people, about the way we do business, call us. I ask you to call me because if you read a comment out there that you feel like is swaying your decision on whether you should consider a ShopSabre or not, I ask you to call me. Yep. Call me personally. 952-461-4570, extension 104. That is me. You can call me. I will talk to you because if there's truth behind what's being said, I'm going to own it. I'm not afraid to say when we've messed up. I'm not afraid to say that, you know what, we've had customers out there who are unsatisfied with the product. Some of it simply could be misunderstanding of the information we've presented. Some of it may be information that wasn't available at the time that we maybe have made available nowadays so people are aware of it. We learn from everything.
Yep.
But the one thing I will say, there's not a single company out there that will work harder for your dollar than we will. We will spend the time to understand every situation, and we will do what we can to do right by our customers every time.
Yep. I hear it every single day.
So
Sitting here. Yep.
the internet is broken. It's fact. People can say what they want, but I think people get stuck in their ways sometimes and just assume that there's these big bad people out there that just don't care about you. And like, honestly, yeah, there might be some of those people at some companies. And I'll be honest, like I'm passionate about what I do. I love this company. I love everything about it. Just like our sales guys are passionate. And it just upset me to see somebody target our sales guys when my sales guys will literally bend over backwards to take care of our customers.
For sure. And if they don't know the answer, they're going to call somebody up.
Yeah.
And put you on hold for 30 seconds while they call somebody and get an answer for you, and they'll have it for you right then.
Right. I mean, how many times do you see people, the sales guys, walk into my office with questions, right?
All day long.
They're asking anything that somebody wants to know that they don't know, they find the answer for them.
Yep.
And so it's like, just to say that like they're not going to tell you I've never once, and I'll promise they don't work on my staff. If anybody on this team has ever been like, I'm not going to find that out for you, they wouldn't work here.
Right.
Like, if you ask the question, we're going to get you the answer if it's within reason, right?
Yep.
If you ask something that we can provide that is truly something we can look for, we're going to get it for you.
Most places just kind of give you an answer to make you feel happy or make you feel like you got an answer, and then they move on, and you really didn't get an answer.
Correct. So
you can also just ignore the trolls, and hopefully they'll get sick of being ignored, and maybe they'll go away.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But the internet's still broken, and it'll always be broken. So.
Correct.
Moving on. This week's motivational quote. Figured after that we need to jump into a energetic thing, right?
A little uplifting.
Yeah, segment. A little uplifting. So we're going to go with life does not allow you to to go back. Let's try this again. Man, I messed that up.
Take two.
Life does not allow you to go back and fix the past, but it does allow you to live each day better than our last. So in other words, like, let's look forward, right? I've made mistakes. You've made mistakes. Companies make mistakes. You as listeners, you've probably had mistakes you made. Don't dwell over it, right? No. Learn from them. Learn from what. Yeah, exactly. Learn from what you can and move forward. Like, always look for the future. What are you doing tomorrow that's gonna be better than today? I always try to every morning wake up with a motivational quote, as we've talked about, but I also try to look at like, how did I handle situations? How could I handle that differently?
For sure.
And I want to be real with people. Like, I've called people up and apologized. I'm not afraid to apologize to people. Like, if I realize, I probably could have handled that differently, I'll own it. Like, it's the way you have to be sometimes.
I find myself doing that with my kids a lot lately.
Really?
Like, trying to just, kids can be kids, especially at that age between like 7 and 11 where they're at right now. They can just like push their nerves and drive you crazy. And like, just got to do better at handling reactions to certain things and like make them feel more heard instead of ignored. You know what I mean? Like, let them express their feelings and be frustrated, be mad, whatever. But then just don't be mad back. Just listen, take it all in, and have a chat about it later or something. I just find myself doing that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Trying to have better reactions to certain situations.
That's something I was going to say. That's how I've been. It's like I've lately been trying to find a way to like react to situations that are unfavorable in a more favorable way.
Yep.
Like I've been, it sounds stupid, but I've been trying to surprise people. Like what I mean by that is like when people are like really being rude, right? We were at a restaurant the other day and there was a lady being super rude and she was kind of just like, you could tell she was having a day.
Yep.
She was being rude to other people in the restaurant. And then it came my turn, right? And I walked by and she made some snarky comment. And I just turned around and I apologized to her. I said, I apologize. I'm sorry that I upset you by that. I'll try to avoid that next time. And she just like didn't know what to say, like, because I apologized.
Yeah.
And my point was, is like, I didn't need the confrontation. It would have been easy to lash out and be like, listen up here, you know? But it was just like, I'm going to literally just be the nicest person possible. And it just shut her down. Yep. Like she couldn't, you know? And the thing is, it's like, sometimes I just like being like, motivational and thinking towards positivity and stop looking for the negative in everything. Try to look for the positive in a situation or stop hearing the negative in everything and find out what the positive message was. Yep. It'll help you, you know, build a better, more successful future.
100%.
So again, life does not allow you to go back and fix the past, but it does allow us to live each day better than our last. So that's what our motivational quote of the week is find a way to build on what you're building. You know, where are you going? What are you going to do this weekend? Think about that. Let's build on the future. Let's think about what are you going to do for the month of July that you didn't do in June, right? What did your business, you know, what did your business leave on the table for June that you can pick up in July? Don't think about like, oh man, June wasn't a good month for me or, oh, May wasn't a good month for me. You know, whatever you're dealing with, like, let it go. It's the past.
Yep.
What are you doing for July? What are you doing for August? What are you doing for September? You know, let's start thinking about the future months and what are you doing to improve yourself?
Order a ShopSabre CNC machine.
Well, you can do that. But I'm even talking personal.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
For sure.
What are you doing in your personal life? Did you start working out? Did you start running? Did you start eating healthier? What are you doing to feel better this month? You know, find that motivation.
Yep.
Spend more time with your kids. Go do something that you enjoy.
Just take an hour out of your day and do something that makes you happy.
Every day, find a little bit of time to make yourself happy.
Heck, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, not even an hour. Just do something that can flip your mood from crummy for the day to positive.
Right.
Maybe you did that to that lady in the restaurant by having that reaction to her and like apologizing and like not arguing with her. Maybe she was like, maybe I should learn from that and do that the next time I get angry and want to say something to somebody.
Yeah, no idea. Maybe. I just went out and dinged her car and then I drove out of the car. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
So you're the guy that ran the key down the side of that red car.
Don't do that. That's nasty. Yeah, no, again, I said it to her. I was walking out of the restaurant and I went on my merry way. You know what? Here's the best part. I did that. I walked out of the restaurant and I went and got cherry berry with my kids and I didn't remember her 10 minutes later.
Was she there on Sunday night when you went back for the second time in the week?
No. I did go to the same restaurant twice.
Hey man, when you find something you like, you got to do it.
It wasn't my choice. It was very good though.
So you're a guy that runs around his house, not around his house. You do what your wife says.
Jesus. Here we go. Here we go. Oh God.
After he declined my invitation to go to dinner.
That was why I would go anywhere then.
Jeez.
I was like, geez, I don't want to go to dinner with Nick. Well, I mean, it'd
be
nice.
He would have drove 6 hours for Perkins instead of going with me.
thought about it. I was like, maybe you want to go to Perkins and Monticello again? No, it'd be nice, though, if you invited me before the 15 minutes before you're leaving to go.
I know, it was kind of a last minute.
Makes it harder to change the plans there, Nick.
Yeah, sorry.
Appreciate the invite,
Think about it next time.
Yeah, appreciate the invite. The worst part is I love that place.
Maybe next June.
I just didn't remember the name of it.
I know, I got it.
So good. They're burgers, dude. They're
I know.
So good.
I messed up and didn't even have a burger.
I saw that. You had fish.
I saw the fish fry and I'm like, oh my God, fish fry sounds great. And then I'm like, this sucks compared to a burger.
Dude, their burgers.
They're still good, but
their burgers are bomb.
They give you so much food there.
They do. And it's cheap.
I think I had like 7 walleyes on my plate when they got it out. It seemed like, that's what it seemed like anyways. There was so much.
They had the limit. They caught a limit and they gave it to you.
Just sliced them up and
that's funny.
The floodwaters out back. They just netted them.
They're just swimming
fresh,
in. Yeah.
Fresh out of the floodwaters.
Ridiculous, dude.
Oh, what just happened?
Oh, I don't know. Final thoughts of the week, Nick. Final thoughts, man. I'm having a blast. I mean, I honestly, I think this episode hopefully was a uplifting moment for people. Hopefully you had fun this week. We were able to keep you entertained by switching, gears a little bit, jumping between topics and thoughts. But again, don't be afraid to make money. My thing is find a way to embrace the future, embrace your growth. Don't be afraid to take risk on yourself. I mean, I think you have to look at your business, and if you got the work and you have a need for it, stop finding a reason to slow yourself down.
Absolutely. Go out and be a go-getter.
Go get it. I mean, the business is out there. There's a lot of people. I mean, Sean said he's busier now than he was when we talked to him the last time.
It's crazy, isn't it?
The work is there. You know, he just moved into his new building. Again, took a gamble on himself by, you know, upgrading the building, hiring more people. I mean, when I met Sean, it was him and his wife. He's got 6 or 7 employees now. He's in a bigger building now.
And guess what? Now that the business is getting even busier, he has the room, and he's not trying to upgrade that while he's busier.
Right. And that's exactly it. Like it's allowed him to do things that allows him to expand his business. And I just think it's something that, you know, people can really learn from is just don't hold yourself back. Don't doubt yourself. You're in business for a reason. You're smart. You figured it out, right? You've gotten to where you're going because of the fact that you were willing to take a risk that other people weren't willing to take. And so don't be afraid to take that next step. Grow your business. Give yourself a future. You know, think about what the next level of the business looks like and how you're going to get there. And
Absolutely.
You just got to be willing to step outside your comfort zone a little bit and be kind to people. I mean, that's my final thought. Don't go on the internet and troll people for no reason. Just if you got an issue with somebody, reach out to them directly. You know, if you got an issue with the product, reach out to the company directly. Like, give them a chance. I think you'll be surprised. You know, the world will look a lot better for a lot of people if we all start helping each other out and start defending what's right versus supporting what's wrong.
Absolutely.
And you know what? 4th of July.
You're right. That's my final thought too. Enjoy your 4th of July. Cook up some burgers. Cook up some brats. Cook up some hot dogs. Have a good time with your family.
Be safe.
Shoot off some fireworks. Don't lose fingers.
But
also remember what the 4th of July is all about.
Yeah.
And I mean, the real meaning of it. Obviously, we get a couple days off work. You get to hang out with family, have some good food, shoot off fireworks, enjoy all that stuff.
Yep.
But just remember what the Independence Day holiday really means when you're out celebrating, and don't take it for granted.
Yeah. Home of the free, because of the brave, right? I mean, let's remember all of that. But let's remember, support our country. Yep. American made. I mean, you're a business. If you're listening to this and you're building product in the United States, thank you.
Yep.
You know, I want to give a big heartfelt thank you to every person who's ever supported our business, because honestly, we're an American made company that we're really proud to be American made, and we aren't here today without you, the customers. So I can't say thank you enough. And honestly, like that's my final thought. Nick, I love that you brought that up, because I think that's a huge, shout out to Nick for being able to point out that
for sure,
that message, because it's one of my favorite holidays because of the message. So, you know what? As always, we appreciate each and every one of you listeners listening to us every week talk about things that a lot of times don't matter, but hopefully you find some humor in it and you've had some fun with us. But again, we appreciate you tuning in every week to another episode of Talking Shop. You know what? Again, thank you. Enjoy yourself. Have a very happy and joyous 4th of July. Be safe, everyone. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for Talking Shop with ShopSabre.